What significance does funk have to your life, people, revolution, and state of the world?
Funk?
Yeah.
As in the music funk?
Yeah.
Funk music?
Yeah. If there's any.
No, there's definitely stuff there.
Okay.
But, what was the question? What role?
What significance does funk have in life, people, revolution, states of mind, and the world?
If I'll be honest, I'm still yet to discover. I'm still, working that one out.
Okay.
But I'm a little way down the path. As you may be aware, I've been delving into the whole realms of funk, the music genre, and in particular the Parliament Funkadelic.
Okay.
That sound coming from George Clinton and his guys Bootsy Collins and the crew. And so my personal journey into it goes way back for me. My first introductions to rap music, primarily West Coast music. They were producing and using a lot of those funk samples or the music within their music. And the music I was listening to that was doing that was what we could say, conscious revolutionary music.
Okay.
So that was my introduction to funk music via rap. That was Ice Cube, Public Enemy, and just other, other pioneering groups at that time. Mainly the West Coast, set down south, but that West Coast had that funk sound. I remember the sound, but not really being privy to, the authors of the music. But again, I was a bit of a music nerd, so I used to check all the credits and all that type of stuff. Back in the day, you had that kind of content within the package.
Yes.
It's a digital download, and you don't know who's produced it, or who did the cymbal, or who played the bass or the guitar. I used to want to know those things.
Okay.
So that's where I came across this stuff. Now, so to initially answer the question of what role it played, played a big role because it inspired a lot of the rappers that I listened to in their music, and they were talking a lot of, what I would say, positive, constructive stuff. It might have been labeled gangster rap and thug rap and all that type of stuff, but anyone who knows, especially as a teenager, when you delve into that, that's where, as we used to say, is like the modern day scriptures, that's where, you get your downloads from your reports on the streets and what's going on, from the perspectives that we're talking about, that was the context in their rap. So those were the early inspirations for me jumping on the path that I jumped on through music, as we touched on the other day. And that music was highly influenced by the funk.
Okay.
So that's what I do know about the funk initially, and then many moons later, let's bring it to the here and now. I'll revisiting that funk and the funk sounds and listen to the original tracks and being highly inspired by it all. And now that I'm aware of the context and the environment and surroundings that created and birthed this music, I'm like, there's a lot more to it than just, it's a good sound.
Yeah.
Just like hip hop, rap, there's a culture, there's a movement, there's a energy associated with it that's really unique. And obviously, because it was birthed in the United States, George Clinton, those guys, I know they originally came from the South and they ended up, moving around New York and Midwest and the West Coast and got sounds and was influenced by a range of different people. But I come to find out that a big part of their sound influences came through, the usage of psychedelics and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I remember having conversations with people in the psychedelic community where we had spoke about, diversity and all that type of stuff, and the lack of representation of, people of colour, this, that, and the other. And it's not just on the academic stages. It's not just at the conferences that this is, felt and takes place. It also happens at like the festivals and other places where they have psychedelic festivals, and you go to the psychedelic festivals and gatherings, and it's like psytrance music, and there's a certain sound, and I've always said, we've spoken about it, amongst the crew, like there's other types of psychedelic music out there that still doesn't get a look in because it doesn't fit into what the current custodians of this movement would like, I guess, or are not familiar with, or are yet to discover for themselves. And so with that dad said, we would always say, you know, the P-Funk, you know, the George Clinton, all that type of stuff. It was psychedelic funk. That whole Parliament Funkadelic was, you know, a play off the whole music that they was created, inspired by psychedelics. So, you know, what their movement was about, I didn't live through that. I didn't actually experience that. I'm getting to understand more and more, watching the documentaries and stuff, and listening to their music, seeing what it was all about, and the movement. You know, they were, you know, like the first official black hippies, you know, in the music genre. And you know, in the community, it's not them. Obviously, there was a movement, you know, and they're the ones who just made it, you know, further down the line, you know, acknowledgement. But they created a unique sound. Through that sound, it liberated many people, I guess. You know, the music itself, which music can do, in conjunction with, you know, psychedelics. And then when you delve into their realm and sound, you see that they were creating music, you know, to support people liberating themselves, and to get in them, you know, understanding things that they may not have, you know, understood. You know, things at that time, you know, the war and, you know, Vietnam War stuff going on, and the war on drugs, and, you know, there was just a lot of political stuff going on, as you know. And at that time, you know, you had the black power movements, like you know, the Pan-African Congress movements, the Black Panther parties, and, you know, had these various movements. But you also had this kind of black hippie movement thing going on, which was definitely part of, you know, spearheading a lot of the revolutionary things that were happening at that time. You know, so there's a lot of crossover, a lot of overlap with, you know, for example, like the feminist movement. You had the Greenpeace movement. You had loads of kind of Eurocentric, European-inspired movements that were conscious and were trying to push, you know, a positive agenda, let's say, regardless. And then you had various movements, you know. So in the, you know, as you know, in the black community, there was, you know, those various movements, and there was some overlap. But I think the middle pillar, you know, a big part of that, a big player would have been that, you know, that kind of black hippie movement. And so what are they about? What is their agenda? I guess like what music does. We know what music does. It feeds the soul. It inspires. It creates revolutions. It does all of that. So I think it has the potential to do all of that. It was doing that, and it still continues to do that now. It's inspiring me and others around, I know, to this day. And you know, that's you know, life transformational. That's potentially, it's limitless what it could do, you know, and who it could inspire and what it could inspire them to do. But the music itself was, you know, it was really about liberating yourselves, and it was doing it in a very creative, non-threatening, aggressive, in a very fun way, you know, like comics and comedians, they can deliver very challenging concepts, but because they do it through comedy, they're able to lighten the load, and that's what Parliament Funkadelic and all those guys, you know, were able to do with their music and still do. So, and it's very relevant in the here and now with the current climate, you know, and the things that we're confronted by. And going back to the earlier questions when I mentioned it just being the same shit, it's like, it's so relevant now. You can listen to their music that was created in the early 70s right through to, you know, the 80s, and, you know, when you're looking at 20, 30 years later, the music is still relevant, and could, you know, you could just press play and it's like it's listening to the news. So yeah, that's who they are a little bit, and what I think they and others in that genre bring to the table.
So it seems a little bit befitting then in that context that this type of music is revolutionary and comes about when there's societal chaos, almost. Do you get what I mean? Because like now it's like we're supposed to be under house arrest. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. Not lockdown or self-isolation. We're under house arrest, and you know, we're now exploring things that we didn't used to, or reconnecting with the things that we used to do. Do you get what I mean? And that includes, you know, exploring different music genres. And like you were just saying, that during the funk times, it was a lot of political unrest in like many places around the world. So that's kind of like what's happening now. So it's like you're gonna be a pioneer maybe for bringing back the funk.
No, I wouldn't even take that. I wouldn't even claim that. I'll take that simply because I bear witness to the people who introduced me to the funk.
Okay.
And since the day that they were introduced to the funk, I guess they've been keeping it funky. You know, they've been keeping it funky. And that's why I like the music and I tuned into it. And, you know, they're out there doing, you know, doing the same stuff, you know, creating the same inspirational music, but they've just adapted the funk to the rap, you know, and the hip hop, and the funk is in, you know, drum and bass and house music.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's in all the genres, but I definitely think, well, I know, not even think, I know that rap in particular, hip hop, you know, reinvigorated that, you know, that those sounds throughout the 90s, you know, and into the 2000s. And the artists that I particularly listen to, that's what their music is. It's the funk, you know. They make music through the funk. It's just that they're not the ones who are on the mainstream, you know, on your MTVs and you know, Top of the Pops or whatever shows they got out nowadays. But the funk's alive. It's always been like, the funk will never die, man. So, you know, the funk will never die.
It's all about the funk.
And, you know, and I'm happy to be around people that are tapping into the funk, you know, and, you know, creating and upgrading and updating and reinvigorating and all those kind of things, the funk. And hopefully, you know, the funk gods and the funketeers will appreciate that, you know, there's people picking up the banners and the batons and moving forward with it, man.
Yeah.
Just putting a few ingredients into the gumbo pot.
So who do you think?